Call the meeting to order. First, Councillor Collins are absent due to work commitments. So we have some housekeeping to do. Council extends condolence to Adrian Healy on the passing of his wife, Teresa Healy. Adrian was a past employee of the town and worked in our taxation department for a number of years. Our thoughts are with you at this difficult time. Council extends condolences to the families of the victims of the recent shooting rampage in Nova Scotia. It was a tragic event that unfolded, and our deepest sympathy goes out to the families of the victims and to the RCMP on the loss of their member, Constable Hardy Stevenson. There is presently widespread flooding in Fort McMurray. There are many people from our town and province who live there. We hope that the situation gets under control quickly and pray for the safety of everyone in this hard time. Today is the National Day of Mourning in Canada, and we recognise workers who have been seriously or killed or injured in the workplace. We ask everyone to reflect on and remember lives lost and resolve to prevent further workplace tragedies. With that, I ask for a moment of silence. Next, we have several resolutions. Resolution, whereas the International Economic Development Council is the largest professional economic development organisation of its kind, and the Economic Development Association of Canada is the national organisation dedicated to serving economic developers. And whereas the Economic Developers Association of Newfoundland and Labrador is the provincial organisation of Newfoundland of economic developers, pursuing excellence in the field by striving to enhance the professional competence of economic development officers, to advance economic development as a distinct, recognised and self-governing profession, and to contribute to the province's economic well-being. And whereas economic development associations provide leadership and support for communities, members and partners through conferences, training courses, best practices, awards of excellence, and initiatives such as the Certified Economic Development Developer designation. And whereas the field of economic development is diverse, with economic developers having a unique set of skill sets and engaged in a wide variety of settings, tailoring their approach based on the community needs. Whereas the municipality of Placentia recognizes and celebrates that economic developers promote economic well-being and quality of life for their communities through community development, attracting new investment, supporting and retaining local business, promoting job growth, and encouraging a stable tax base. And that business support and development is critical to the viability of our communities. Therefore, be it resolved that the Mayor and the Town Council of Placentia do hereby recognize May the 4th to May the 9th, 2020 as Economic Development Week in Placentia, and remind individuals of the importance of economic development in our communities. Signed today. Next. Mental Health Week 2020 proclamation. Whereas mental health is an essential part of everyone's health and well-being, whereas Mental Health Week has been hosted by the Canadian Mental Health Association in communities across Canada for 69 years, whereas all people in Canada need to promote, protect and nurture their mental health, and whereas promoting social connection is an important aspect of human life and an effective way to protect mental health. Whereas in these days of the COVID-19 pandemic, our community members may be experiencing further difficulties maintaining their mental health. Whereas in these days of social distancing, we as a community are experiencing great challenges to maintaining our social connections. And whereas the municipality of Placentia has a responsibility to promote mental wellness, particularly at a time of increased social distancing and social isolation. Therefore, be it resolved that Placentia hereby proclaims the week of May the 4th to 10th, 2020 as CMHA Mental Health Week. I encourage all citizens to join me in underlining the importance of social connection for mental health. Next, with COVID-19. As a council, we recognize these are trying times for all citizens, and we wish to congratulate you on staying the course and believing that together we can flatten the curve. Our behavior does make a difference in flattening the curve. By following the regulations and advice of our public health professionals, we are indeed seeing the results, with 0 known cases in our community to date. We must remain positive and not let our guard down, and continue to follow this advice and to support each other until the threat of this virus is flattened completely in our province. Please be assured that the town of Placentia takes the safety of our community as a #1 priority. Once again, we thank you for your vigilance and appreciate your cooperation in keeping our community safe and healthy. I'll now ask for a motion to adopt adoption of the agenda dated April 28, 2020.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Fitzpatrick, seconded by Councillor Smith. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried. Next, the adoption of the minutes dated March 24th, 2020. I ask, are there any errors or omissions? Hearing none, I ask for a motion to adopt. Moved by Deputy Mayor, second by Councillor Hines. Any questions? All in favour?
Aye.
Motion carried. Any business arising from the minutes of March 24th, 2020? Hearing none. Any questions on the action sheet? We move on to the committee reports. The Executive Committee met on April 21st, 2020, with attendance, myself as Chair, Deputy Mayor Pearson, Councillor Kay Smith, Mary Green, Acting CEO, and Catherine Smith as the Recorder. Several recommendations. 1, Council recommends, the Committee recommends the Council approve policy for water and sewer tax for accessory buildings. This policy states that any property owners who have any vacant land or vacant land with previously unoccupied accessory buildings where water and sewer can be connected will be charged the vacant land water sewer rates of $70 per water and $30 for sewer. This is pending the verification by the CEO acting or the Public Works Superintendent of the connectivity. Ask for a motion to accept the policy. Moved by Councillor Fitzpatrick, second by Councillor Collins Power. Any questions? All in favour?
Aye.
Motion carried. Next, the committee recommends council approve invoice 170510 from Woodmark Contracting in the amount of $1,092.50, including HST, for renovations to the Town Hall main office. Moved by Councillor Smith, second by the Deputy Mayor. Any questions? All in
Mayor.
favour?
Sorry, hard to get. Were they the adjustments we made for the front desk for the COVID-19 recommendations?
Yes, Councillor Hines.
Okay, all right. Just checking. Thanks.
Any further questions? All in favour?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. The committee recommend the council approve the payment of $2,349 for account number EAST E010 to satisfy a credit left on the account. Moved by Councillor Smith, second by Councillor Fitzpatrick. Any questions? All in favour?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. The committee has 2 more recommendations. One is both our HR matters. Councillor Smith, you have declared a conflict in the matter, so we'll ask you to vacate the meeting. And again, the acting executive assistant will be leaving the meeting as well. Okay. The committee recommends that Catherine Smith's position as temporary executive assistant be expended to meet the operational needs as determined by the CAO acting. Moved by Councillor Fitzpatrick, second by the Deputy Mayor. Any questions? All in favour?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you. Can we get Councillor Smith back to the table? Okay, welcome back, Councillor Smith. Next, Council recommends that the Manager of Finance, Mary Green, be extended as acting CEO for a 6-month period under the terms outlined by the Executive Committee. Moved by Councillor Fitzpatrick, second by Councillor Hines. Any questions? All in favour?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. That's it for the Executive Committee. We move on to the Finance Committee report. Councillor Smith.
Okay, the Finance Committee met on April 15th, 2020 by teleconference, and in attendance were Councillor Jane Hines, Deputy Mayor Keith Pearson. I was there as chair, Mary Green as acting CAO, and Catherine Smith as reporter. And we made the following recommendations. That council approved the accounts payable transaction journal dated April 14th, 2020 in the amount of $29,780.10. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Smith, second. Councillor Fitzpatrick. Any questions? All in favour?
Aye.
Motion carried.
The council approved the check register for the operating account in the amount of $216,251.37 for checks numbered 028459 to 028551. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Smith, second. Councillor Hines. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
That council approved the special accounts check register for the month of April 2020 in the amount of $63,373.71. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Smith, second. Deputy Mayor. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
That council approved the visa statement expenditure for the period of February the 28th to March 27th, 2020, totaling $1,016.98. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Smith, second. Councillor Fitzpatrick. Any questions? All in favour?
Aye.
Motion carried.
That council approved payment of invoice number 07442278 from Crane Supply in the amount of $1,321.06, including HST, for water and sewer supplies. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Smith, second. Councillor Collins Power. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
That council approved payment of invoice number 831 from Flow It Advanced Solutions in the amount of $1,035, including HST, for Fire Shield yearly subscription.
Moved by Councillor Smith, second. Councillor Fitzpatrick. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
That council approved payment of invoice number 06214 01999756 from Parkland Fuel Corp in the amount of $1,150.87, including HST, for furnace oil at the arena. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Smith, second. Councillor Hines. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
That council approved quote from Colonial Auto Parts in the amount of $2,933.93, including HST, and a 1-year warranty to rebuild the radiator in the pumper truck.
Moved by Councillor Smith, second. Councillor Fitzpatrick. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
That council approve credit adjustment to account number E1MSK001 in the amount of $7,083.31 as business ceased operation in Argentia as per correspondence received April the 9th, 2020.
Moved by Councillor Smith. I would ask to have that one tabled, right?
Defer,
Pardon?
defer it.
Yes, I would ask the council defer that for further discussion. Everybody in agreement?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
That council approve an adjustment to account H1CKM004 for property located at 12B Fewers Road in the amount of $380 for water and sewer tax on unoccupied land with only an accessory structure on it. The vacant land, water, and sewer tax of $100 will be applied to the account.
Moved by Councillor Smith, second. Deputy Mayor. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
That council approve a one-time only interest adjustment to account HATFW002 for properties located at number 11 O'Keefe Street in the amount of $245.29 and number 12 Blockhouse Road in the amount of $166.79 for a total adjustment of $412.08. The account is now paid in full.
Moved by Councillor Smith, second. Councillor Fitzpatrick. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
And that's the report.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. We will now move on to the Public Works Committee report. Okay. And the first issue, I'm going to declare a conflict as the owner of the property, and I move the chair over to the Deputy Mayor.
All right, so you can move ahead, Lorraine, with your report. Go ahead.
Our committee met on the 21st of April via teleconference. In attendance was myself as chair, Councillor Collins, and yourself, Deputy Mayor Pearson. With regard to staff, in attendance was Adam Green, Public Works Superintendent, and our recorder was Catherine Smith. We have about 6, looks like, recommendations for this evening. The first one is that the committee recommends that council approve occupancy permit application for a quick change to operate an oil and tire garage located at property 91-95 Prince William Drive, pending confirmation of Government Services Centre approvals. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Collins Power, seconded by Councillor Fitzpatrick. Any questions or comments?
Is that the old garage up here?
Correct.
Yes.
That is the garage. All in favor? Motion carried. All right, I'll ask you to bring back the mayor, please.
Our next recommendation that we have is that the committee recommends that council approve application for Geraldine and Richard Lynch to construct a shed on property located at 40 Harbour Drive. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Collins Power, second. Councillor Fitzpatrick. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
The council committee recommends that council approve application for Alan and Linda Cotter to construct a shed located on the property at 1509 to 1517 Main Road. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Collins Power, second. Second, Councillor Smith. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
The committee recommends that council approve an application from Andy Hatfield to construct a shed on the property located at 3 Blenheim Street, pending property owner combines properties, and a new survey is forwarded to the town. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Collins Power. Second, Councillor Fitzpatrick. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
The committee recommends that council approve an occupancy permit application from Dollarama to operate a retail store in the Placentia Mall on the property located at 61 Blockhouse Road, pending confirmation of Government Services Centre approval. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Collins Power. Second, Councillor Smith. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
And our last recommendation is that committee recommends that council approve permit application processing policy as presented in the package. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Collins Power. Second, Councillor Hines. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
And that was all our recommendations. Just a couple of items. The Burnt Woods Place is now, it may be finished by now. I don't believe it is just yet, but they're working on the water line, the new ground storm drainage up there. That's going on, and hopefully that'll be completed soon. There's also, just of note here, there's been a couple of calls to our office regarding some wildlife in the up around Morrissey's Lane, and we are monitoring that and just keeping an eye on it, I guess, for right now, because wildlife has been notified, and they will be, I guess they don't come out till a couple of months or so. So that is being looked at.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Collins Power. Next, we'll move on to the Culture, Tourism and Beautification Committee report.
Have you decided who's going to do that one?
I don't have it here. Do you?
Councillor Fitzpatrick, will you have this?
Yep, I have it.
Can you deliver the report, please?
Yep, no
In
problem.
the absence of Councillor Collins, who's away due to work commitments.
Perfect. We met on April the 8th, 2020, and we met via teleconference. In attendance was Councillor Collins as chair, myself, Councillor Smith, Ms. Power, Manager of Tourism, Marketing and Communication, and Ms. Smith as our recorder. We don't have any recommendations for this meeting. Some of the items that we did talk about, we are still pursuing and gathering information with respect to the convent and funding options for repairs, and in discussions with them. The Placentia 350 Inc. meeting, due to COVID, they're determining some next steps of where to from here and to make decisions around the Voices of Placentia Bay Festival as the event gets closer. There was a circular to municipalities regarding parades, and the Chief Medical Officer of Health and the provincial government had advised municipalities and residents and individuals to refrain from holding parades. So we did send out some messaging around that through our app and on our Facebook, if I'm correct, Ms. Power. We do have funding approved for Celebrate Canada to purchase some fireworks. And we discussed some of the upcoming events that are coming around, and these will be discussed in more detail as we get closer to events. And during this time of social distancing, our committee also discussed ideas for community involvement to try and boost the spirit with everyone practicing physical and social distancing.
Thank you, Councillor Fitzpatrick. Next, we'll move on to the Recreation Committee report. Deputy Mayor.
The recreation report, the meeting was held on April the 14th. It was done by teleconference due to the COVID-19 pandemic. In attendance was myself as the chair, Councillor Hines, and Councillor Collins Power. Some of the issues that we discussed, we talked about the facility closures and the measures. Actually, I should also mention that Adam Green, the public superintendent, was there as a person of who works on the committee, helps us. Miss Power was also there. She was also a part of the committee, and Miss Smith was there in recorder. Two of them have taken on the role in the absence of the current recreation manager, Mr. Pike. We talked about facility closures and measures in place to ensure that the public and the safety is protected. We talked about the boardwalk and the signage that was put in place to help protect the public, and some of the measures that was listed by the chief medical officer about traveling in a circular motion, and that's why the boardwalk was instituted in that way. There was some questions and comments about how we done it, but it was that way, and we go up on one side and come down the other side, so it was all clockwise they asked to do it, and that's what we done, and that was the safety also remaining on the right side of the road. We put signage in place at the playgrounds. From there at the 7 on Lookout Point, any facility that the town owns, we place signage in them. Also, we like to thank Express Signs for actually donating some of the signs. That was very nice of them, and certainly greatly appreciated by the town for helping us out. The manager of Recreation, Tourism, Marketing, Communication did a Recreation L webinar on the 17th. The arena closed on March the 13th, and everything ice is removed and maintenance items will be addressed as needed. We don't need people in the arena right now doing maintenance. We need them out around in our facilities and around our parks. Even though they're closed, we still got to maintain the maintenance on them in case at a later time they are open or when they are open again. We talked about the committee discussing necessary maintenance that will continue throughout the summer. The first aid stretcher was at the arena. The Placentia Healthcare requested that in case it was needed during the pandemic, and we certainly agreed that they would certainly need it more so than us where the arena is closed down, and we granted that wish. The RFQ deadline for the pool, just to let everybody know, is May the 1st. And other than that, the meeting was adjourned at around 8 o'clock.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Mayor. Just 2 points. One on the boardwalk. The town has also recognized that Veterans Way, the road, its shoulder of the road, is not really suitable for the traffic. We have been reaching out to the transportation works to try to upgrade that, because we are, getting traffic due to the social distancing and the traffic flow one way and have to return along Veterans Way. We're looking at getting that straightened up, and if not, council's going to look to address to try to straighten it up, make it more suitable for walking itself. And again, with the RFQ for the pool project, the Wellness Centre was May the 1st, and the RFQ is now going to be closing, I believe, on May the 8th. So it was a further extension due to other issues surrounding the COVID-19 and obviously issues of concern for communications and preparing tenders. So the new date for the closing of the RFQ will be now May the 8th.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, so that's it for the Recreation Committee report. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. We'll move on to Community Engagement and Communications Committee report. Councillor Hunt.
Thank you, Mayor. We met on April 6th, 10 a.m. And of course, it was by teleconference. I was there as chair. Councillor Fitzpatrick and Councillor Kay Smith were in attendance. Rhonda Power, the manager of Tourism, Marketing and Communications. Catherine Smith was there to record. We have no recommendations at this time. It's been a very busy time for our committee, more so than manager at the time. The municipal highlights, of course, how we put this information out has changed. It's now circulated, of course, through social media and on our website and through other means as well. The next municipal highlights will be available after this council meeting, of course. COVID-19 will be updated on the town's social media site as it's required. So Ms. Power has certainly updated that. As soon as we get information, it goes out on all of our platforms. The Age Friendly Committee, due to COVID-19 and social gathering restrictions ordered by Health Canada, of course, the manager will provide an update on the Age Friendly event when received from the Chamber of Commerce. That is supposed to be held fairly soon, so we were waiting on I think we had talked about having at least a 2-week notification system in place. That may change. Of course, we have to be fluid in our response to these things. So, that was supposed to be in May or June. I don't see that happening right now, but again, we're going to wait to get final confirmation on that. Again, for the same thing with PBIS, people can't make these decisions until we have more information. Community consultation sessions, again, the COVID-19 has put this off, and the Wild Rose beautification plan that we had for this year, of course, will be modified, and hopefully we'll be able to do it, and everyone will be able to stay safe in doing it in their own backyards and just a little bit around their area. That we'll have more on that next month. Our communications plan, we all kind of had phone calls and our meetings on teleconference, which was different for us. Thank you to all council members and staff for adapting and practicing our Zoom meetings and teleconference and phone calls and everything. We have met a lot, and it hasn't taken away the amount of work that staff and that council has put into our monthly work. The COVID-19 communications plan, again, changed our meetings, but also changed out how we service the public in regards to taxation, our communications around that, and how they need to pay their taxes or make permits and that kind of stuff. So we're doing our best to be able to react and to what people are needing. We're still available through phone calls, through an email, and I think the staff have been very reactive to getting back to people as soon as they can. So thank you all for that. Again, we're just going with the flow and doing what's recommended and keeping on top of things as best we can with communications and how we do things. So with everyone's best interest in mind. But other than that, we're just going to keep doing what we're doing, and hopefully we'll get to the other end of this pretty soon. Our meeting was adjourned at 11:20 a.m.
Thank you, Councillor Hines. Next, we'll move to the Economic Development Committee. Councillor Fitzpatrick.
Thank you. The Economic Committee met on April the 22nd via teleconference. In attendance was myself as chair and Councillor Collins Power. Councillor Collins was unavailable due to work. Ms. Green was there as the acting CAO, and Ms. Smith was our recorder. We don't have any recommendations at this time. We had extensive discussion on COVID-19 and how we can support the businesses within our community. One of the pieces that we did discuss and we did implement with the help of the manager of tourism, marketing and communications was identifying the business hours of operation and providing that information to residents, as that was changing on a regular basis. And that's something that we are continuing to update and let the residents know if there are any changes, as well as we've reached out to businesses asking if there's any supports or what kind of supports they were looking for with respect to the COVID-19 situation from a municipality point of view. We did, as a council, agree to waive the 4.5% interest charged June 30th on all outstanding taxes for 2020. And our stakeholder session with the key economic organizations that help facilitate economic development within Placentia is scheduled for May 27th. We will have this as a virtual meeting, and then the topic that we are proposing for that meeting is the economic impact of COVID-19 and how we can support businesses going forward as we start to come out of COVID-19 and get back to whatever our new normal is. That's it for our report. It was a short meeting, but there's a lot of work that came out of it.
Thank you, Councillor Fitzpatrick. Next, we'll move on to correspondence. Any questions on the correspondence? The only one I would bring up is a letter to Marine Atlantic. I have written Marine Atlantic outlining our concerns about the operation of the Marine Atlantic service this year in light of the expected downturn in the tourism, and the suggestion that this year with Marine Atlantic coming into Argentia, it's a great opportunity to increase the commercial traffic because most of the freight will be coming again to the eastern part of Newfoundland where most of the population of Newfoundland is. So we have written Marine Atlantic and asking them to maintain the operations this year. Also, we have written to MP McDonald for support. We're waiting response from MP McDonald, and we have reached out to Marine Atlantic and others to pursue to ensure that, yes, we very much want to see Marine Atlantic operational in Argentia this year, and certainly sure and hopeful that the federal government and the governments will, do likewise. So we're pursuing that, and again, we're trying to make sure that, yes, even though there may be a downturn in the tourism aspect, there will be possibly a better potential for the commercial activity to come into Argentia. So that has been reading. We're waiting for response there. Any other concerns? Correspondence?
Maybe, Mayor, the other one you could probably touch on is the suspension of the White Rose project.
Okay, the suspension of the White Rose project. Yes, we've been notified by Husky that the project will not be reopening this year. That's obviously due to the pandemic situation there, and Husky has made a decision that it will not be opening this year. It has some negative impacts, again, from rental properties or boarding houses, so on and so forth, some turnover. And the site has been down now, I believe, to less than 10 people, I think is my understanding of what's actually working. So it's unfortunate that this project got delayed. However, it's part of the economic times that we're living in today.
Mayor, maybe the other one, I don't know if we see correspondence on it yet, but I did see it on the site that Dunville is getting some payment. Now, we haven't got no correspondence on it. Do you want to speak a little bit about that or anything?
Yes, I have it roadworks. It's my understanding from speaking to department officials that, we had been identified in upcoming roadworks for this year. It's my understanding that Route 100 will be seeing some roadwork upgrades, as well as the Southeast road connection further on the end of Southeast, which we've been identified 3 areas that we have been lobbying the government, for attention to: the Route 100, the Southeast Road, and as well as the Loop Road in Freshwater. So we're certainly anxious to see that, government's going to, answer their concerns and a request, and that we have been identified for work this year. It is my understanding that government is actually pursuing a policy or a work platform in order to allow the construction to start May or June of this year. And they're going to be putting guidelines in place for contractors, developers, how to handle themselves accordingly due to the pandemic. So I don't know if anybody else has anything else they could add. Councillor Fitzpatrick, maybe?
With respect to construction, I know the provincial government has some information available for construction companies and employers in general of if they have workers working together there's a tip guide or a guideline there around risk-based decision making, as well as with particular reference to the construction companies, there's some additional information there available on that. So if you go on the COVID-19 site, which you can get access to if you go to gov.nl.ca, and there's under the resources section, there's a lot of information available there for businesses.
Yes, thank you, Councillor Fitzpatrick. And again, pavement doesn't usually get, the asphalt plants don't open till normally after the May 24th weekend. So hopefully, we're going to see some work start on that this year. Certainly like to, thank Minister Cracker and government officials for recognising the need for some paving in this area.
Mayor, also with regard to that, I guess with the public works, maybe you could speak on it, Councillor Collins Power, that we have also identified areas in our own town that needs work, and we're looking at getting that done as soon as the plant's open.
Yes, I believe, Deputy Mayor, that the Public Works Superintendent has actually started the process. And again, we have identified previously in this budget as well as last year, some of the town roads and the maintenance that we have there. And I believe the Public Works Superintendent is pursuing now avenues to get the road construction, some of our town-owned roads prepared and repaired as well.
I have another question, Mayor. I don't know. I don't believe it was in this correspondence. I think it might have been after the fact, but there's been a number of inquiries regarding the dump on Fox Harbour Road.
Okay,
And we did, and I don't know if you want to speak to that. I know we did also talk about writing the minister and the MHA. Went through executive, I believe.
We have written to Eastern Waste, requesting, what is the alternative plan. We've also written to the minister and looking for clarification because obviously, people want to clean up. And this time of year, at the end of the winter, everybody have a lot of bulk garbage, bulk cleanup. And, we're looking for, is there a safe method or something out there that we can do? So, yes, we are directing our attention now with Eastern Waste and again with the province out there to try to come to a conclusion or a satisfactory solution so that people will have a place to actually, be able to get rid of this refuse. Based on that as well, I'd like to acknowledge and recognize that, throughout, the last week when we're starting to see some fine weather, I'd like to thank, without getting into naming, but there are residents that have been actually doing some cleanup. I've seen some local residents cleaning, walking along the ditches and picking up some garbage, as well as, going around some roads and properties and actually removing a lot of garbage. So, those at another date, I'm certainly sure we'd like to, we'll be recommending and, acknowledging those individuals, but certainly appreciated by the town and, to take that initiative, in maybe if you're bored or you're downtime, to take the initiative on to try to clean up. It's further discouraging, however, that, once they're cleaning up, as well as we've seen in the past, that, a few days later, you see a lot of refuse and garbage again. So I think everybody has a responsibility to try to maintain the garbage, but actually as well, if, littering is an offence and, bring people to task. And if you see somebody throwing out Tim's cups or you see somebody throwing out refuse or garbage, identify them and ask, that it's not correct and it's not right, because it doesn't make our town very appeasing. So, but again, those residents that are taking the added initiative, thank you very much, and it is being recognised.
Mayor, just a quick note, there's a bulk pickup is moved to June 1st. So
yes,
that's the date we have right now, just to remind, and that note that you were talking about. So
okay, yes.
June 1st.
And obviously, following May 24th weekend is usually when most people try to get the initiative. Hopefully, Mother Nature cooperates with us. This storm, Eddie Shearer spoke of, is going to pass us. It's a snowstorm, so that's great news. And hopefully the weather will start to cooperate and we'll have some good positives. Any other questions on this? No? Okay, so I'll ask now, other business of councillor. Councillor Hines.
Even when we're not sitting in the council chamber, Mayor, I still have to go first. Does anyone else want to go first?
I looked to my left, Councillor Hines, to see if you were there, and then I looked up and you were to the left of my screen. So
I don't mind, Councillor Hines, if you want me to go first.
Patrick, you go. Oh, you don't want me to go first, or you do?
No.
You're good?
No, I can go first. Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, because you always do start first, don't you? Just a couple of things from me. I know, Mayor, you talked about cleanup, and yes, I agree. If everyone took a little piece of land or a ditch or anything like that and help with the cleanup, it would make things a lot better. But at the same time, make sure we do it with physical distancing in mind, that we don't gather in groups to do this. We're very fortunate at this point in time not to have any COVID cases within our municipality. And having said that, it's not the time to become complacent either. Just because we have none at this point in time, now more than ever, practicing physical distancing is going to be critical for us. And I do want to commend the residents, because as you look around, people are practicing physical distancing when they're going to the grocery store. Less they're making, you know, one trip where they are picking up their groceries for a week. Unlike before COVID, I was at Foodland probably every day. So now I'm even going down to once to every 7 days to 10 days. The other thing I do want to speak about and is around the economic supports that are available to people. There's a lot of economic supports available for both individuals and businesses from the federal government. There's been a lot of information released over the last couple of weeks with respect to that. So much information that it's becoming confusing and things like that for people, or there's things that may be overlooked. So I did want to highlight some of those initiatives that I think the residents, individuals, and businesses within this municipality would be interested in. So with respect to individuals and families, the federal government just announced a salary top-up for low-income essential workers that they are going to work with provinces to provide a cost share temporary top-up. Now, the details of this is not released yet, but that is coming out. A few weeks ago, they increased the Canada Child Benefit. So on average, an extra $300 per child through the Canada Child Benefit for 2019-2020 will be increased to individuals. And this will be seen starting in the May 2020 payment as well as June. And those that receive the child tax benefit or Canada Child Benefit don't need to reapply for this. This will be automatically done. There's also the special goods and services tax credit payment that individuals have received. And that's an additional benefit of up to $400 to $600 for couples. And again, you don't need to apply for this. There's extra time there to file income taxes for individuals. There's deferral support with respect to mortgages, to vehicle payments or other loans in which you have that individuals can apply for. There's also underneath the Canada Emergency Response Benefit, some supports there for businesses whereby they can apply for a $40,000 loan and to help improve cash flow. There's support there for students for the upcoming year that would be great benefit to a number of people. The other positive thing that I know a lot of people and students were wondering about is what about the student jobs for this summer? So I know just looking through their website and things like that, the federal government has I think 116,000 job placements that they're going to be doing or providing subsidies to different businesses and things like that to help with student job placements. And I know there's a wealth of information, but if you go on Canada's website, anybody that's interested, there is a wealth of information there and a number of supports for individuals.
Thank you, Councillor Fitzpatrick. Maybe we can actually put a link on our website for anybody wanting to try to access it. If they don't know the information, we can put a link on our website.
Yep.
It'd
be very good. And I think Mayor too, maybe even sending out a memo to businesses in particular, and I'm looking at it from the my economic committee's point of view of here's information that's available, and just highlight the programs that are available to the businesses that are in our community.
Yes, definitely. We can certainly do that. It's anything we can do to help business try to maintain open and try to stay in business is certainly priority for us as
Yep.
well. That'd be great.
Because these are significant, challenging times for our economic businesses
Most definitely.
and individuals within our town.
Most definitely. Thank you, Councillor Fitzpatrick. Now I'm going to go to Councillor Hines. Do you want to go now, or
You're not
ready?
getting to go last, Councillor Hines.
No, that's fine. Thank you.
You're going to throw me
thank-
off if I don't keep going in orders.
Yeah, no, that's right. Throw you right off. Thank you, Mayor. Again, I'd like to thank all the volunteers. It was Volunteer Week last week, and I know that we'd typically be part of a couple of hoo-has or a bit of a time or a dinner or a lunch and whatever we do for the Volunteer Week. We'll get to that. We're just having to delay some things right now. We have Mental Health Week coming up, and I know that this is such a, if anyone says they don't feel the effects of COVID-19 on their mental health, you need to have another look, because it's really even if you're doing okay, it's still just an uncomfortable time for everybody. And so pay attention, be good to yourselves. Children are totally out of sorts now with schools out and their support network, their major support network, missing. So there's a couple of things that the provincial government looks after, and one is a website called bridgethegap.ca. It's www.bridgethegap.ca, and that has lots of links to health, wellness, mental health and wellness for families and individuals. The other one is the Kids Help Phone. I know that Laval High School sent out an information thing the other day about their resource person was able to take a call and do counseling, which is great. Sometimes people don't want to go to, or don't have the access to go to the counselor or even talk to them. But the Kids Help Phone, which is, the number is 1-800-668-6868, and you can text them. You don't even have to call. You can text them at 686868. And that's everything from missing your friends to suicide to LGBTQ2S+, dating issues, hating your parents working at home. You know, if you need help, and it's good for parents to know. Just put the number on the fridge. You never know who's going to need it. Again, thank you to all the people who are learning to live and work a new way, work from home, live from home, you know, try and get along as best you can. And I know it's stressful, but we'll get through it. Just do what you can. I'd like to thank the food bank. I know that our local food bank is taking cash, electronic funds, transfers. I know they're needed, and they will be needed again in the coming weeks and months, whatever we have. So I'd like to thank those volunteers and remind people that if you have a little extra to give, it just they're accessible through Facebook, and you can EFT them some money, and that'll certainly go to a good cause. But just look after yourselves and be kind and give yourselves a break. It's not the time to have to learn a new language or have to be as efficient or effective as you think. Just get through it, and we'll be fine. See you on the other side of it. That's it.
Thank you, Councillor Hines. Next, Deputy Mayor.
Just a couple of things for me. First of all, I guess I'd like to thank the residents for following the Chief Medical Officer's advice and do the social distancing and staying home. You can certainly see it. Even when I go home from work in the evening now, you can certainly see the difference on the roads, and you can certainly see that people are following advice, and it certainly shows in our numbers in the town. But like anything else, we got to remain vigilant. We got to stay with it. You know, just because there is some numbers are down now doesn't mean we get lax. I think it's time now to even get more stringent and continue the path ahead, because the flattening the curve is there, and let's completely get rid of it. The other thing is, I'd like to thank the staff and Ms. Power and the Communications Committee for setting up these virtual meetings over the last month. Certainly being able to bring us together and still do the town's business and still concentrate on the needs of the towns and making sure that that is moving forward, even though we are in a pandemic. But the business of the town must go on, and it continues to go on. And I thank everybody who had a hand in bringing that together, even all you guys and fellow councillors and mayor, to make sure that continues to happen. And the last thing is the taxes for May the 1st. for our non-seniors for the 10% discount. Just remind residents to, if you're going to avail of that, you got to May the 1st to get it done. Council extended the deadline for 30 extra days to help to ensure that people who needed to see curbs checks and things that get some federal money out to get that done. It certainly is a time now to save some dollars and put them back in your pocket and get this done. So that's it for me.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councillor Smith.
Hi, a few of the things I was going to say now, the Deputy Mayor has already said them, and Councillor Fitzpatrick. But I just wanted to say it is a different time. It's stressful and confusing for many people in our community, this COVID-19. And everyone has a role to play in reducing the spread of this disease. And I want to thank everybody in our community for doing their part in keeping everybody safe, and especially thank the police for their challenges, not only with COVID-19, but the shooting in Nova Scotia. That's brought a lot of strain and misery to them, I'm sure. Our frontline staff and our health providers and our cleaners and our clerks. And I was really impressed with the people who pick up our garbage. Last week I looked out and they had their gowns on and their gloves on and their masks on, and they were so proud to be doing that. My heart's so looking at them. So thank you to them, especially to them. Thank you. That's it for me.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. Councillor Collins Power. Next time I'm going to start on the right, Councillor Hines.
You may not want to, because I got a few, as we were going along, I thought of other ones. But my first one, I just like, before I forget, is the coal yard in Jersey side. I meant to mention this in the Public Works Committee, but there's an old section up there that has been patched and repaired several times, and due to safety reasons, that area is going to be removed. I've been told that today by the Public Works Superintendent. So I know right now that is closed, but just in the event when it does open, or if you see our workers over there, that is what they're doing, and it's just for the safety of the users and the children there. I also wanted to mention another item that I should have emailed last week. I should know, because it's the field of work I'm in, but I forgot to email the staff. Administrative Professionals Day was last week, and I want to commend our staff at the town for all the work that they do, to keep us in line and get everything out the door and stuff. So certainly we appreciate all the work that you're doing. And I apologize myself, because I had it on my list to email you or call you, and I totally forgot about that. So for all the staff there that keep us going, and everybody in the community wwho works in the admin field, I thank them as well. Another area that I just talk of COVID and people keeping active and keeping their minds occupied. I did notice a post the other day from, it was forwarded to anybody who does rock painting. It was forwarded on that website, and it was from someone forwarded on behalf of Ian Walsh of the Legion. And just to keep, if you're looking for something to do here now when you're at home, they are like they'd done last year with the November 11th, Remembrance Day. They asked people to paint poppies on rocks for July 1st Memorial. They've asked people to paint forget-me-nots in remembrance of the Royal Newfoundland Regiment. So that's a good activity to keep in mind when your children or adults are at home. If they want something to do, that's certainly that would be appreciated, and it's certainly a nice remembrance for them, because it was noted on there that because of COVID, there won't be a wreath laying this year. So just something for them to put down there about a memorial. I have one other item, and that was just two other items. I've been watching on Twitter, and just also to acknowledge, I know Councillor Hines talked about Laval and what they have out there, but I'd just like to acknowledge the staff, or I guess the people who monitor the Twitter account at St. Anne's Academy. They're certainly keeping the kids active, putting different days up of the week. Today is bowling day and things in the house, and they're posting their videos. So it's really nice to see that the kids are keeping engaged and certainly keeping in touch with the school. As well, another item, there was a fire ban issued. I should have mentioned this in our Public Works Committee as well throughout the province. It's just really an extension of an earlier fire ban notice as opposed to later in the year. But I just want to let our residents know that please don't burn brush or anything in your yard. We got to keep our resources ready. We want to keep our fire department safe and ready for other emergencies. And just to prevent that from happening, please hold off on any, I know you want to get your yard cleaned up, but I just ask that you hold off on that for now. So that's really all that I have.
Thank you, Councillor Collins Power. And Administrative Week, yes, I did recognise, remember it last week, and I did send out an email on behalf of Council as well. So that's good. Thank you. So hearing all that, thank you all for your concerns. And again, we cannot, say it enough about the COVID-19 pandemic. And thank residents, for doing their part, continue to do their part. We can't let our guard down right now, and we got to be more cautious and more careful, in order to flatten this curve. So it's really great. It's good. And yes, when you're doing your cleanup, you're doing stuff, maintain your social distancing, maintain your sanitizing, and wash your hands carefully. Right? So thank you, everybody, once again, and enjoy the rest of the evening. I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. Moved by
I move.
Councillor Patrick, second by Deputy Mayor. Meeting adjourned.